Hi everyone, I'm Stephanie. I am doing this vlog today on mindfulness. I joined this amazing community, yogi community on Facebook led by Larkin, and I will post all the links for her YouTube page and her Facebook page in the link description below. Along with the podcast, for at least the name of the podcast, for what this is based off of, and the link to the article that she wrote for greatest.com regarding defining mindfulness. It's called WTF is Mindfulness. It was a fantastic article, like described it to a T. Everything that I was taught mindfulness was from a not a yogic standpoint. I was taught it through my therapist, through therapy and dialectical behavioral therapy, which is a therapy that is growing immense popularity to help people with post-traumatic stress disorder, borderline personality disorder, anxiety, depression, and its core module is mindfulness. And then it has other modules like distress tolerance and interpersonal effectiveness and emotion regulation. But after each one of those, they always go back to mindfulness. Everything is based off mindfulness. So, when Brett was discussing in our podcast about the staying one-minded, which is what we call it in DBT, it's one-minded, where you're just sitting there, and beginner's mind, because you're looking at, what you're doing for the first time, and you're just being one-minded of it, and focusing on that. And what Brett said in her podcast regarding, well, what if I'm having happy thoughts? What if I'm thinking about a happy moment and happy times and stuff like that? And at first, I was like, you know what? Yeah, she's right, because those are enjoyable moments, right? So after a discussion with my husband, he's like, well, when you look at it at a scientific standpoint, you want to stay that mindful in that mindful moment, no matter whether it's positive or negative thinking, because you're training your brain. You're training your brain to not wander off. So you can, it's again, that balance, if you're a person that's trying to get away from negative thinking all the time, you don't want to just be mindful during the negative thinking times. You want to try to also bring it into the positive times, because then you're training your brain in both. You're making the balance. You're bringing rational mind and emotional mind into the center of, and making what we call in therapy wise mind. It's that circle that links together. You see it everywhere. So for me, we talk about non-judgments like you do in the article, Brett, and we talk about being aware of our feelings, and all of those things are neither good nor bad, just it's all the same, like in a therapy scientific setting, along with the yogi lifestyle setting. Yes, I do agree 110% that mindfulness is an overused term, and it definitely is an umbrella term. I actually listened to your podcast 4 times, and I missed you saying that the first 2 times, and I had already thought oh, it's an umbrella term. It's an umbrella term for all these things. And here's where I want to thank you again, and I'm so happy for finding Brett, because she takes everything beyond the mat. I mean, yoga is an amazing tool for the asana, but it is so much more than that. And I feel like, I graduated from DBT. It's a year-long thing. I graduated from that program a year ago, and I've been in therapy since, and I've always felt stuck. I felt okay, I keep going over this. I felt like there's this hump that I'm not getting over. I'm like, what is it? So I'm like, okay, well, my therapist is doing this thing called loving kindness. And yes, I will listen to your podcast. I just realized that you have that, so I'll save that for a different one. But I just was stuck. And then I found you and the group and stuff like that, and all your podcasts, and you're right. Then it's heartfulness. It's being grounded. It's coming out of your mind and into your body, and sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's not. And it's not just with yoga. I love lifting weights. I love to hate running, or hate to love running. I don't know which way it is, but I do it and it feels amazing. But for me, the next step is feeling with my heart, being heartful and being grounded, and not being completely mindful, because I'm mindful. I know how to come back and just be in the moment. But what do I do from there? Like, where do I go from there? You know? And it's again, it's what you said, it's the heartfulness and the being grounded, and whatever other terms there are that I don't know yet. Using my intuition. Oh my goodness, I've learned to use my intuition and trust it so much in the past 6 months that I don't know why I wasn't doing it before. So that's, in a nutshell, my thing about mindfulness is, yes, I completely agree that it is a overused term. On the flip side of that, is like mindfulness and a scientific standpoint for therapy purposes, I feel is very important, because somebody who comes from a dark place, who struggles to have the self-discipline to come out of it on their own by just using yoga and stuff like that, if they don't have the tools to go to a studio and find a mentor or whatever, they can go to therapy and they can find this tool where they teach them mindfulness. They teach you, like, the first thing we do is we eat a piece of food and we hold it in our mouth and we describe the facts of how it feels and how it tastes and all of that. Like, that's the first thing you do on day one of mindfulness. So it's a wonderful, wonderful tool. So anybody who is in therapy and has their therapist say, hey, we're doing DBT and it's mindfulness based, but you hear like, oh, mindfulness is everywhere and that's da-da-da, and you have a judgment on it, don't. So I think it's a great tool to start with and then grow from. And just like anything else, you start lifting. If you're a lifter, you start lifting 3-pound weights, and then you go from there, and you combine your exercises. With yoga, you may start with yin all the time, and then start balancing it out with 10-minute classes that Brett offers on her YouTube page, that are power quick vinyasa classes, which are amazing, because I did one the one morning and it got me going. Never knew a 10-minute class could wake me up like that, but it did. And that's that. That's my take on mindfulness. It is all of those things, and it helps immensely, but it's the tree trunk to many branches that come off of that. It's just the foundation. It's a foundation. So I hope you enjoyed it. Anybody who has any other opinions, positive or negative, please feel free to leave me a comment or anything like that. And like I said, I'll leave the links below to Brett Larkin's YouTube page and her Facebook page, and the name of the podcast, and the link to the article on greatest.com. I hope you enjoyed this little vlog that I did, and I look forward to doing this again. Thanks. Bye.